All right, we are live. Hey everyone, welcome to the Final Click Marketing Show. I'm Ronnie Soud.
And I'm Dania.
Thank you for joining us. We have a very informative, a very timely show for you today. Something that we've been dealing with, I feel like, and talking about. It's a good thing on end since the coronavirus pandemic really rooted itself and we saw that life was going to change for a long time. Today, we're going to be talking about how to get started with digital marketing. And this is something that is not just for new businesses, but it's also for established businesses that are just getting started on their digital marketing journey. Mm-hmm. And Dania, I think you can also speak from experience the last, 3 months? Like, we're living in a different world. I feel like we talk on this on end now.
Yeah. Because everyone's home. So everyone's deciding, now's a good time to work on our marketing. Mm-hmm. So they have to start from scratch.
That's right. A lot of people relied on sales teams, on person-to-person networking, networking events, all that kind of stuff. And that has definitely ended for the foreseeable future. I don't think that'll be back till at least after 2021 starts. Mm-hmm. And so that's put a lot of the focus on digital. And for our business, we've grown quite a bit from the coronavirus with a lot of new clients that have been in this same situation. So today, we are going to take you through kind of soup to nuts, top to bottom, what you need to get started with really great digital marketing initiatives and strategies. So we're going to be covering website, SEO, basically getting found on search engines like Google and Bing, paid search, which is those ads at the very top of Google and Bing, social media, and email. And so those are kind of the pillars on building a good house, getting attention and traffic to your website, and also staying in communication with them, kind of in that top to bottom order too. So I say we dive in. Let's talk about website.
All right. Well, I want to start off with a stat. Because 94% of first impressions relate to your site's web design. So I feel like people know this now, but I think it's really important to put thought into the design and the photography and the quality of your website. Sometimes that we find that clients think that it's not important. They can use the same image that they've always been using, but we'll get more into it. But I think it's really important to think of your website homepage as your business's first impression.
That's a huge point. I think one of the things that we're going to talk about with this later is, she said photography, possibly video too, is, when's the last time you updated any of your assets, right? Today we have a common name. It's called content assets, things that are utilized on your branding channels, like your website and your sales collateral and your social media channels, and making sure that it's modern and accurate, I think is huge. And I wanted to share too. So this was a poll done by HubSpot, and you see my big titles here. What do people want out of a website? What do people want out of a website? 76%. So the overwhelming majority want you to make it easy for them to find what they're looking for. And so that, I think, tracks back to some of what you were saying, is have updated content and make the site navigation really easy. I would also say for a lot of established businesses that are getting started, is the content on your site up to date? Right. You have a page for every service or product that you're offering, right? That's something that I feel that we run into a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Even with our big clients. And I think it's really important when you're in your homepage, when you have your slider or your video and you have your headline, sometimes people really want to get creative with that and do something witty and fun, which you can do. But I think it's really important to include an option that's just blatant obvious what you serve to your clients or your customers,
Mhm.
like what you are as a business. Because when you design it, you think that they already know, but you really have to think of your website user as like a kindergartner that doesn't know anything. And you have to be really blatant and obvious about everything
Mhm.
you say, even if it feels stupid. I feel like that we find a lot of clients who just don't even say what they do in their homepage. They just forget about that.
Right. They've kind of overcomplicated the messaging. And what was your initial stat there when someone first comes?
Yeah, 94% of first impressions relate to your site's web design.
Right. And so, on that theme, I think if the initial messaging is too complicated, you start to make people think a little bit too much,
Mhm.
rather than, boom, hitting them right off the bat. Like you said, with a really direct message related to the product and services that you offer. So I want to get into some of the important elements that are on the website design, right?
Mhm.
And so that is, number one, I would take inventory of your site navigation. And certain pages that I would look for is, do you have one page for every product and service that you offer? Do you have a clear contact page? Do you tell people how you want them to get started or contact you to do business? And then
Mhm.
two, and I wanted to ask you this as well, but I'm big on the About Us page.
Me
And
too.
right. And so I think we find one of the surprising stats that we pull out when we get a new client and we dig into their analytics is that their About Us page is usually the second most visited page on their whole site.
Yeah, definitely. That's true.
And so people want to find out about the company's, establishment, when it was founded, kind of what their journey was to the present day, and also who leads everything, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so I think that kind of goes into putting your company values
Right.
on the site too. That's a really great place to do that.
Yeah. In our last video, we kind of discussed brand and brand community and all that. And I
Mhm.
mean, that's the place where you kind of showcase your brand. And also, I think if your brand is really involved in the community, like if you're Jacksonville based, I
Mhm.
think a lot of people want to go into the About page and just see where you're from and see if, the business is even relevant to them.
Mhm.
So it's really important to include your location and address and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, people want to know, especially for a local business too. And if you're B2B, this is so vital. So if you're a business that sells products and services to other businesses, this is extremely important because people really want to get to know who they're doing business with before they actually physically meet you or pick up the phone or, submit a form or whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
I would say from a top level, we talked about make the navigation clear and easy. Make sure that you have one page for every product and service that you offer. And also make the contact information really easy to find, possibly even make it global right in the website header there.
Yeah, that's huge for me. I always say to clients, in the top right corner, you need to have your phone number or a button that takes you to a contact form. And when you scroll, it needs to follow you. At the bottom of every single page on your website, you need to have a contact form. Like you need it to be everywhere because you never know when they're going to make a purchase.
Exactly.
And you just need to shove it into their face, honestly.
Right. So are you a phone call? Are you a form, or are you a live chat person, or all three?
I'm a form email person because
Yeah.
I'm a millennial, so I like to avoid phone calls.
Okay.
But I know from our clients, most people make phone calls though. That's the most common.
It is. I'm a live chat, guy. I like
Really?
the instant. I don't like talking on the phone, but I'm an instant gratification too. So,
Right.
I think if you're that type of a business, really think about what your action item is on the site.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely try to have all three. I know from the clients that have put live chats on their site, it has delivered a wealth of information to us managing their marketing as to the questions that most of their potential customers have. And then we take a lot of that information and suggest that we put that content up on their landing pages or put it within their ads. And so, you know, the simple act of having that, you know, if your business can handle a live chat, is a fantastic, you know, tool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways you can outsource that too. Not just through robots, but you can have live people actually do the chat for you and stuff. So there's a lot of tools out there today. Exactly.
And so we saw this, you know, too, kind of a live example. We saw this really prevalent with a client of ours. They are in, they've been they're in medical. So they're a private medical practice. And so one of the things is we put contact forms on every one of their service pages. So we have a page on their site for every body part that they deal with and for every service that they offer. That brings in a lot of traffic, both organically and from ads. But because we have the contact forms, the request and appointment form right there on every page, that makes it really easy for them to put in detailed information about themselves. It goes to the staff. And the other thing is that it alleviates the stress that's on their phone system too. So it actually helps the staff out if they submit forms and are able to kind of get the ball rolling behind the scenes and then contact them when they're ready. You know, rather than having everyone just, you know, descend upon the phone lines there. So that's been a big help with them. And an example of making it really obvious for what you want your website visitors to do.
Right. And always, if you have a form, we always create a thank you page. So once you submit a form, you know, you always have that screen that pops up. Thank you for submitting. We'll get in touch with you soon. That's just there so you can actually track how many people submitted the form and it actually went through. And that's a really important number to have, because if you don't have a thank you page, you can't really rely on, you know, the back end of your website saying how many people submitted. That's not usually accurate. So it's always key to have a thank you page and to use that in other marketing efforts. We'll probably get into that later with email, but it's a really important thing that people forget about.
Oh, that's a monster point, because everyone always asks, well, how do we know if this is working? So what Dania just kind of laid out with making sure you have a thank you page, that's how, because you load that thank you page into your website analytics system and it starts tracking everyone that's hit that page and actually completed a form. So that's a monster point. And then I kind of wanted to leave everyone with this, because and when it comes to, you know, the website, you know, there's this big thing. Oh, well, people don't read and they scan and, you know, this, that, and that is so true. But a lot of times it causes the internal pages, like your product or your service pages, to be a little too thin. And so as a general rule, what we suggest for putting on every product or service page, kind of in this order too, is the benefits of using your business, the features of your product and service, the process for delivery, how to get started, and either how much it costs or how to get a quote. So if you kind of tackle those elements, and you can even lay them out in that exact order on a page, you should be building really great informational rich pages that are high converting.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Okay, so as we kind of call it, the website is your house, right? And you know, search, SEO, paid search, social media, those are kind of like roadways that lead to your house. And so number one, you always have to make sure that your house is buttoned up and in good order, which we just went over. But moving on to start to get traffic, the next logical step for most people to take is to do SEO and make sure that their site is properly optimized and make sure that their business is properly optimized up on Google, Bing, Apple Maps, so on.
Right.
So
that reminds me, we forgot one thing about website that's really, really important. And you always say this: if your website isn't mobile friendly or mobile first, it isn't customer first.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. So
Number one thing.
that's right. If you're not mobile first, you're not customer first. So
Yeah, I think I actually have a stat. So 74% of users are more likely to return to a mobile-friendly website. And I would say with our analytics that we look at, every single client, the majority of users are all on mobile devices.
That's true.
Yeah.
And for mobile too, one, the website needs to render properly, information wise, but then two, speed, making sure that it's not too, bloated, as they say, and that's properly optimized for speed is huge, because I want to say their patience on a mobile device is less than their patience on a laptop or a tablet.
Definitely.
And that kind of parlays into SEO, because speed optimization is one of the big ranking factors. But I want to break down for everyone here what SEO actually is. And if you look here at the very top of a Google search, so this one is for roof repair, Jacksonville, Florida. So at the top, you tend to get between 2 to 4 paid ads at the very top of every single search. Then you get these map listings here. This tends to come in a 3-pack. Okay, this is part of the local search, local SEO equation, optimization efforts, so on. And then you have your standard organic listings here, which have been around for years. But you can see, from the top of Google, boom, all the way down here. Map listings are extremely important because of how visible they are. They're also very, proximity and reputation based as well. And so, local search, I know, is something that I use a lot for picking providers, restaurants, service industry type things. I don't know about you.
Yeah, definitely. I have another stat. If customers search for something local, 72% of them will visit a store within 5 miles of where they are, which is definitely true. No one wants, especially I feel like in the Jacksonville area, people don't want to drive that far. They're in the beach area. So it's really key to always have your address available so you can get onto those map listings. What are some other ways you can get into that map listing?
Okay, so map listing, so crucial. Number one, Google My Business. So remember those 3 words. Make sure your profile is, number one, verified, and number 2, that it's properly built out so that you've selected the correct business category. You've put your business description in there. Make sure that your name, address, and phone number, your NAP, is accurate. You'd be surprised the number of clients that we visit that have changed locations and forgot to change their map listing address. That will cause you to not rank and not get any visibility. And that's huge for discoverability with new customers. So other factors that go into that is also website optimization, site speed, making sure that you're utilizing the right keywords throughout your site. You have a nice, clean navigation, so on and so forth. And there's more than just Google too. So Bing has very much been on the rise. Anyone that's bought a PC typically also performs searches up on Bing. Google is the top dog, and Bing also has a free local listing for businesses too. I think it's called Bing Places. And then Apple has gotten into into maps and navigation huge. So Apple Maps is really big. And if you're not properly optimized, the results that each one of those serves users as they search can be completely different. So what Google ranks, number 1 versus Apple versus Bing can be different
Mhm.
So it's very important to have your website and your local listings properly built out, optimized, verified, all that good stuff,
Yeah.
to
We
help you
kind of
rise and
we
gain
kind of
ability. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Mhm.
I would say we kind of touched on this in our last video on Google My
Mhm.
Business, but I would say my favorite part of it is the ratings. That's like the number one thing
Mhm.
that makes me want to go somewhere. I always look at a ratings. If they have below a 3 stars, I probably won't go. Um,
Mhm.
I kind of talked about it again in the last video, but you don't have to have the 5 stars. You can get like in between 4 or 5 is good.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say that plus pictures, and on top of those two, just adding like, you know, people, you have other people's opinions with it. It also just takes up more room, which you
Right.
kind of have to think of like Bing or Google as real estate. So, with real estate, the bigger the better. So you just want to take up most of the page so there's less room for your competitors. So that's
Mhm.
another way to think about it and why you need to put in all your information.
Exactly. And so I have this other cool graph, along the lines of what Daniel was saying with reviews. What's cool about local SEO, so showing up in that 3-pack of maps there. Let me show you. So showing up in this portion here. Here are the top ranking factors for that. The Google My Business listing, which is also connected to your reviews, takes up 25% of that. The other ranking factors like reviews, on-page optimization, social, and citations, which is making sure that your business information is listed on other online directories. The
Mhm.
vast majority of these things are within your control. Right. So you
And
can
free.
very much influence, personalization and behavioral. That is stuff that it deals more with the user and what their past browsing habits have been. But
Mhm.
these items here are very much within your control, to start up, optimize for, and to really help you get better visibility with new potential customers,
Right.
And, Dania's very, very right. A huge, so 15% of the ranking factor is reviews, but it's much higher. So when your listing shows and your reviews show along with it, the buying power of that, it has a much bigger effect in helping people make their buying decision, than just getting exposure.
Right.
And so we've all done that. You're on foot, in a different city, and you Google, sushi near me,
Mhm.
or for plumbing, roofing, home services. We see this a lot within the medical industry as well. It's very
Definitely.
prevalent because, like you said, most people frequent businesses that are within a 5-mile radius of their home.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So local SEO, the ranking factors, and we've sort of gone over some of the things that are abundantly important in getting you publicity.
Mhm.
The other thing that I want to mention about that is local PR. And so that deals a lot with participating in your local community. And this can come from the local news, local business journals, local charities that you partner with, making sure that you have proper visibility up on those things so that you look like you're in the community, but also on their websites, making sure that they're linking back to you, and that they're
Right.
mentioning your business, within their email blasts, on their websites, and within their social media channels, will have a really big added impact, to boost your rankings, for
Mhm.
local search as well.
Right. And it's also important to do your own publicity. So if you
Mhm.
have the time to make a blog on your website, that's really key because you can include so many industry related keywords and, FAQs and all that type of stuff that
Mhm.
people will be searching. Maybe they don't, know your brand yet, but they'll type in a question like fitness gym with personal trainer near me. And if you talk about that in your blog, you'll show up. So it's really important to really keep in mind what your most searched keywords are and building your blog around that. We'll probably get into this in a different video with SEO on your website, but I think a quick tip that I didn't know until I did a lot of research is all your pictures and videos and everything you upload into your website, make sure the title of those are keyword related. So you wouldn't think that has an effect, but the metadata, that's what it's called, really ties into how you show up on Google or Bing listing. So keep that in mind.
That's very true. You know, you don't just want to sprinkle the keyword phrase within the copy. You also want to make sure that your title tag, meta description tag, and like Dania said, your images on each page are tagged with some keyword rich description, really. So all of those things, you know, kind of balled together really do make this nice avalanche push and help your website rank, especially within your local area, really, really well.
Yep.
So too, you brought up the bit about FAQs, and you know, all of that to me is just ongoing content development. You know, what kind of kills me is when we launch a site and then we stop doing content to it, right?
Right.
And so, you know, it's great that we've sort of refreshed everything, but keeping it going is very important because some of those ongoing content pieces, you know, they're not only going to help you rank, but they're also going to help you close sales. Because you can't, you know, say everything on every single page that'll get people to move, you know, further along in their buying decision. But like when you brought up about FAQs, you know, that's something that you might do post-launch if you've just redesigned your site, but you're tackling questions that you get as a business on a daily basis that you put those in there. They help you rank, but they also help you to close that individual, or at least help them move them further down the funnel.
Right. And it's completely free. So why not?
Way to do. Take advantage of free. So
yes.
Soud Marketing is all about the free. Now, in kind of getting away from the free though, because I feel like we've given pretty good direction on local SEO. Paid search. And so this is something that I've been passionate about this for like over 15 years, but I believe every business should be running some Google ads in some form. And so, you know, again, I want to pull our graph up here. The paid ads show at the very top of Google. And this is usually at least 3, sometimes it's 4, right? And some of the cool things about paid ads that you might not know about is, number one, you can advertise on any keyword phrase you want, right?
Yep.
It's no contract, and it's absolutely free to be shown. You only pay when someone clicks and transfers to your website. So the intent behind that is massive, because if someone goes to Google, types in exactly what you offer, and you're running an ad on that particular keyword phrase, they read your ad, they click your ad, and then they transfer to your website, that's a really high intent individual that is heavily shopping, right?
Right.
And so oftentimes Google Ads is the highest ROI channel of really any online digital marketing initiative, because that intent that Google is able to cultivate from users is so high.
Yeah, and I would say that's also causes Google Ads to be probably the most fast and consistent tool we use to get conversions. So I would say with almost all our clients, when I do the analytics report, paid search is the biggest contributor to conversions, and we start seeing it within almost like 2 weeks of starting new campaigns, sometimes even sooner. I have another stat says 75% of people never scroll past the first page of search engines. So if you have a hard time with organic SEO, like you have a really common brand name or something, that's where I mean, it's always key, but it's especially key for you to create a brand name campaign so you're guaranteed a spot at the very top, and people will actually be able to find you.
That's true. So there's a really bad joke within the digital marketing industry that I'll tell now. So the best place to hide a dead body is on page 2. And so because, like Dania said, almost nobody goes to page 2 of the result. And surprisingly, even though almost everyone says, oh, I never click on the ads at the top, we all do. You don't even know you're doing it, right? Because oftentimes the ads have better headlines and more enticing copy than what's below. And so we all click it to get the offer, or to go to the exact landing page, or, so on and so forth. And, one of the big things that I think I explain to people is that no one keeps paying for traffic that doesn't convert.
Exactly.
So if you're seeing the same competitors month in and month out, year in and year out, buying Google ads, I assure you that they are getting leads and sales from running paid ads up on Google.
Yep.
The other big thing is that we hear is, they're like, is it expensive? And so you're like, no. The cool thing is that you can load up as many keyword phrases as you want. So you can start as targeted as you want and then scale up. And, that's the general rule of digital marketing in general, and how it differs greatly from traditional like TV and radio. TV and radio, you have to buy a lot of it and you have to blitz it. And, only then will you get the reach and the frequency of your advertising to make an impact. Digital is a complete opposite. You start small and you scale up. So it's really safe to do. And it's kind of no consequence, because running ads up on Google, there's no contract involved. It's a self-service platform. Anyone can do it. It's not easy to build out and manage a well-optimized campaign, but it is open to absolutely anyone to do it. And, again, the good thing is you can start small and scale up, which is how we start a lot of clients, especially if it's their first time getting started with digital marketing.
I would say another advantage over print and TV and radio is that the results are actually measurable with Google search right away. So you can see which keywords are getting you the conversions and clicks, which keywords aren't. So you can implement that into, other marketing strategies, into your copy and your website design. But another thing is, we kind of touched on this in another video, but you can see a report on how you rank compared to your competitors. So that really helps with, when you're designing your marketing budget for the next year, how much money you need to spend to be competitive, and all of that, or if you're spending too much money. So even if you're not getting all the clicks that you want, you can get really good measurable results where you can tweak everything to make it fit better for you.
Very good point. It's complete. Everything about it is completely measurable, and it's controllable too. So you control the keywords that you run ads on. You control the ad copy that runs. So we get to write, basically whatever we want, as long as we stay within trademark rules. Right. We also get to land them on any page on your website that we want, which is massive. And that is the biggest conversion difference between the paid Google ads at the top and the SEO results. So the SEO results, you really cannot fully control what page people land on. And typically that page oftentimes is not set up for conversion as well as the pages that you use for paid search, right? And so one of the controllable factors that I want to show, so this is a screenshot taken from the back end of Google Ads. But one way to control cost as well is that you get to pick the exact geographic areas you want. So Here, you can do it based on location or based on radius. So if you want to do, within 5 or 10 miles from your business address, you can do that. You can load in counties, zip codes, cities, whatever. And this is a good way of getting your business shown, especially if you're in a larger metro style area like Jacksonville, and you might only really want to harvest in sales and leads from certain neighborhoods. That's a great way to only show your ads to really specific parts of town.
Right.
The other thing is it comes with a really handy keyword tool. So Dania said that you can do keyword research. And so these are all the derivations. We did this so we ran a test for pediatric dentists. Okay. And so these are all of the derivations of, basically pediatric dentists that show up in our local area here, along with what their average search volume is and what their competition is. So this helps you determine which keyword phrases, it helps us determine which keyword phrases we should go after for your business first, and then, which ones we should possibly add in later as we go through the whole launch and ongoing management aspect for a new account.
Right.
As you can see, everything is completely within your control, and you're able to start from as big as you want, as safe as you want, and then scale up as you see results come in.
Mm-hmm. And we usually see our clients doing that, scaling up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So now, paid search and SEO is really great for intent. Okay, so those are people that are in market and are shopping, within and are looking to make a buying decision, right, within about 30 days. So like the 10 to 30 day period. But that tends to only represent about 5 to 10% of the entire target market that a business can go after. Okay. So for the other 90 to 95% of people that are not heavily shopping yet, we want to pivot and now talk about social media, because social media, that is where discoverability, brand awareness, and getting found by new potential customers is so huge.
Yeah.
And so Dania is a big social media user, as am I to a certain degree. I'm a LinkedIn guy, YouTube guy, that kind of thing. But she's a lot bigger up on,
Instagram,
TikTok. And we did a longer video about this that talks about the type of content that works best in each social media platform. But I would just like to talk about utilizing social media to find new customers up here, because that's something that you do yourself. You find a lot of businesses that, you then buy from up on Instagram. And I think Instagram, you find the most, right?
Yeah. Instagram has a really cool feature where if you follow someone, they'll suggest users that are similar to you. So I find a lot of Instagrammers through that, or just through influencers that promote different brands. I always find new stuff, and obviously the ads that run on there. But I have a stat that says 54% of social browsers, so people who actually browse the social media, use social media to research products. So I know I've done that. Like, I'll look up like a hashtag for, like, let's say sunglasses. Or I'll just like search sunglasses in the search bar and look at brands, and just like based off of their pictures and the vibe they give off, I decide if I like a brand or not.
True. That kind of gets back into that whole content development talk, right? And so one of the areas where really, content development is so huge is up on social, to make sure that you're putting the right image and the right message out there. Along with what Dania was saying, I pulled a stat here. This is from our social media guide that's up on our site, but this data is a little outdated. So this is from 2018. But I think the percentages and the thought behind it is still very much intact. So, 66% of US consumers have purchased a product they've seen in a brand social media post. That's huge. That means that basically they're learning about this product, right, from those social media channels. Two, it also gives a little bit of a breakdown. Now, this graph was made, I think, before the TikTok days. So I think this is from like 2017. It's like 2017, 2018 there. And so, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter. I would still say that the order of this is very much accurate. I think the percentages have changed some. I think Instagram has increased a lot. YouTube is still very prevalent, especially as a comparison shopping tool, I would say. A lot of people utilize YouTube to do searches. YouTube is actually the second biggest search engine in the world next to its parent company, Google. But right. I feel like a lot of people go to YouTube and search for product reviews, brand name, right? So that they can see it in action and get more information on the product that they might have discovered in Facebook and Instagram initially.
Yeah, I always look up reviews on YouTube, especially within the beauty community. It's growing rapidly on YouTube.
Right.
So I'll always look up makeup reviews, and then they'll also start suggesting, other brands and stuff. So I think influencer marketing on social media is becoming huge. That's for another video, but yeah, I would say that's really good with conversions, especially within my age group.
That's true. I think one of the biggest stats that a lot of people overlook, your age group lives on there, right? And y'all were kind of born into it. But, the biggest age group that's migrating onto Instagram right now is the 45 plus crowd. And they've migrated, onto Facebook like 8 years ago. Right. And so they became kind of power, Facebook users, and they don't just follow family and friends. They follow businesses and their favorite brands too. Because now we're all kind of, engineered to follow the businesses and brands that we frequent, because they put out content that we enjoy, one, and then two, they oftentimes give an offer. So if you follow them, there's a chance that you get a 10% off, a coupon, a buy one, get one free, something, right? And so that's another way to kind of utilize social media for both discovery, right? So, utilize great post content and video for discovery, but also send offers through it,
Right.
It's free to send out a post to however many followers you currently have.
Yep. And I would say if you're a new business and you don't have any form of social media, Facebook and Instagram, which are both owned by Facebook, so you can create the same profile, is the bare minimum that you should 100% do. Facebook is, like you said, still the market leader. I have a 2020 stat that kind of goes along with what you're saying, that 2/3 of US adults are active users on Facebook. So if you're targeting that age group, Facebook is the place to go. And along with the content you were explaining, I think videos are really important. They tend to do really well on Facebook, where you can, explain your brand story or show how a product or service is done. And along with live videos like we're doing now, I think that's growing rapidly. I think in like a year, 6 months, everyone's going to be doing it. All the brands are going to be doing it because I feel like it's closest to real life and having a face-to-face conversation with a brand, which is what people are trying to achieve with social media.
Exactly. One cool thing about going live too is that you get further organic reach than you normally would if you just put the pre-edited video or image up there too. You brought up a good point. And that is building a following. And so if you have a physical store, a restaurant, or if you have a sales team, or if you regularly send out emails, it's very important to ask those individuals to join your Facebook page, your LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, so that you can keep marketing to them for free, right? And so, the fact that if you have a brick and mortar, or if your sales process deals with, doing Zoom calls or webinars, be sure to ask everyone to follow you up on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. It's a great and easy way to build a really engaged social media audience. And that also ensures that you can communicate with them at a later date, right?
Yeah, that's really true. When you bring up sharing your profile, I think if you're a B2B business on LinkedIn, obviously you need to build a business page, but if you use your personal page, you need to use that as kind of like your business page too, and post all your articles and stuff, and share it to both accounts, because on LinkedIn, it's all business to business. So your personal profile is the face of your brand.
That's right. I think LinkedIn is probably my favorite social network, because I love the content that a lot of the people that I follow, they post it on LinkedIn, but they don't post it on Facebook. I personally think it's okay to post the same content everywhere for that particular day. The format that you post it in might need to change, right? Right. So, take this, video, for example. We're doing this live today, but we might take snippets and excerpts from this and post it up on LinkedIn today, and encourage people to track back to our Facebook page to watch the live show, which, has already happened, but the live show lives on within your feed. And so people can still access it. So, my point to that is, I don't think you need to kill yourself to differentiate the content per se that you're putting out there. I would just pay attention to the tools that they have inside of each channel. For instance, Facebook gives you lives, and they give you a messenger app, and they give you event post types as well. LinkedIn allows you to do articles, and they let you integrate with slide shares. So if you have a PowerPoint deck, you can share that. Instagram, primarily is still image based with most people, but they're getting into video big time.
Yeah, and they have, Facebook and Instagram both have stories too.
Right. So
that's really good for posting deals or like behind the scenes of your team. And that all kind of creates the whole brand community that we were talking about in our last video.
Exactly. And if you guys are feeling overwhelmed with what type of content to create, if you go back to our Facebook profile, you'll see episode 1 of The Final Click, where we handle the type of content that you should be posting on each channel. That's also available up on our blog. So soudmarketing.com/blog. And you could get that episode and literally go channel by channel. And we help you pick the content types that are best for your business on each social media channel. So give that a watch if you're in need of content ideas. Moving on from social, I think the next big thing that is often forgotten about, because social media is so much on everyone's mind today, and a great lead into that is email, right? And actively getting people on your email list, and then actively emailing that list, right? So if you're a business, right, that has any kind of POS, point of sale system on there, or if you're harvesting emails from your website, you really need to be conscious of at least sending out one email blast a month to communicate with individuals, right?
Right.
And so I know that I'm still big with email, right? I still love getting. You look at it from time to time.
Yeah. sometimes.
I know there is a instantaneousness with social, right?
Yeah.
But email, the cost of it, because, again, it is still practically free, depending upon the size of your list. But with most email marketing platforms, you pay one, set flat fee, and you're able to email these individuals as much as you want. Of course, you don't want to go overboard, but you should be sending out between 1 to 2 email blasts every month, and give them educational content and support with, as it relates to what you offer, and also give an offer in there, right? If they're on your list, they've given you permission in a sense to market to them. So do so, right?
Right. I think that's really key. Those two things are the only reason I'll ever open an email from a company, especially if it's a deal. So, and to make sure that it's mobile friendly again, because mobile opens account for 46% of all email opens. So always test that out and make sure, you can see the deals and you can navigate through it really easily on mobile. I know I use email mostly on mobile. So.
Me as well. Again, if you haven't gotten started yet, okay. So two great ways to get started is, number one, you probably already have a database of past customers, right? It tends to be stored in your POS system there. You can download that, upload it into an email marketing platform like MailChimp, Constant Contact, Active Campaign. There's a lot. They all pretty much offer the same feature set. Sorry, we had a little audio glitch there. They all pretty much offer the same feature set, but get started emailing to the people that have experienced your brand before. Okay. And in doing so, I think your success rate, because they're already familiar with you, will be pretty high.
Right.
The second thing to do is, like we mentioned with social media, is start encouraging people who walk into your physical brick and mortar location, as well as the people that follow you up on social media. Encourage them to go to your website and join your email list, because more than likely, these are people that have not bought from you before, but they're close in that buying decision. And getting a few emails from you in a great offer is a way that you can transfer them from potential customer to actual paying customer, right?
Yeah, amplify a client that we have. So, created a workout program, and so you know.
Yeah. We're having a little technical difficulty here, so just with the audio.
So sign up with Pernal.
You know what, Daniel? I'm gonna remove you from the stream and then add you back really quick and see if that helps.
Okay.
All right, so it's just me. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but I'm going to add Dania back. We're talking about email, and so she was given some good tips, I do believe, about how to grow your email list. Okay, we back?
You hear me, right?
All right, it's still happening. So, it's all good. You know what? I'm going to finish out email, and that was the last point that we had for everyone. And so, again, with email marketing, if you're not currently doing it now, we really encourage you to get started. Start with your current customer list. That'll be the best way to communicate with people that have already experienced your brand, your customer service, and your support. And then do actively ask for people to join that email list within your physical locations, on your social media channels, on your website. Make it easy for them to find the opt-in form to join your email list. Okay, so guys, we kind of covered the gamut here. We went from website, what you should have on there, the makeup of it, how to make it easy, how to make it conversion friendly, the importance of local SEO and showing up in the maps, the importance of paid search, getting started, and how you can scale up, right? So you can start small with paid ads up on Google and how you can scale up. Social media and how it's a powerhouse for discoverability, for finding new customers on there, and for getting them to stay within your marketing sphere. And then we round it out with email, which again is another great way of ongoing communication with potential customers and past customers. So I'll speak for Dania. I hope we both hope that you found this helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and we will be back next week with another awesome episode. Bye.